So Israel Madrimov says that if Terence Crawford bulks up, that's going to be the biggest mistake he can possibly make. And that's going to hinder him from being victorious against Saul Canelo Alvarez.
Fight. And I have Crawford winning this fight. Crawford's going to win this fight doing something that nobody's done to Canelo.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. And it didn't take me going to camp to know this.
Okay.
That's entertainment. You know, when you're a great fighter, a great entertainer in general, you want the person to say, when do I see that person again? When's he going to play again? When's he going to fight again? You know, you got to be able, if you can't put in seats, you're going to get fired. You know.
Mike Tyson shared his thoughts after training with Terence Crawford, emphasizing the importance of staying calm before such a massive showdown with Canelo Alvarez. Tyson explained that while fighters always face intense pressure on a stage this big, the real battle is psychological. If Crawford can control his mind and avoid being overwhelmed, Tyson believes he can perform at his absolute best, making victory look far easier than it really is.
You know, fighters, pressure, right? Pressure's not being hit. You know, everybody think pressure's like getting on stage. No, pressure's the thought of being hit. And that's how they fall. The thought is going, I'm not hitting that hard, but they think I am.
Right. So
it's all psychological.
Are you, when you're walking to the ring, are you noticing anything, or are you so locked in?
I see everything moving. Every person, every girl.
Dude, your walk-ins would last longer than the fights sometimes.
Do anyone have a napkin on my towel? Because I'm sweating like a pit in one hole up here.
You sweat.
We will get you one.
You sweat.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
You're sweating like Charles Barkley at a spelling bee.
Yeah, I'm gonna be sweating pretty hard there too.
Exactly. So, Mike, we all know you hit hard. Who was the first person that when they hit you, you was like, oh, okay, this guy hits pretty hard?
Amir Khan, a seasoned boxer who once shared the ring with Canelo, acknowledged the sheer magnitude of a potential clash between Alvarez and Crawford. Khan praised Canelo's unmatched experience, but also highlighted Crawford's genuine punching power. With Crawford bulking up and adapting to a higher division, Khan sees him stronger than ever. He argues this isn't a one-sided contest. Both men bring elite skill sets, each capable of flipping the fight with a single move. While Khan admires Canelo's dominance at heavier weights, he warns that Crawford's ability to adjust, adapt, and rise to challenges makes this showdown extremely unpredictable.
He did that to Canelo after, so to your point, can Crawford do the same? Coming up from 54 and 47, can he, or will that, throw off the catch and shoot? I was gonna catch and shoot.
We're not
Make me think.
We're not catching and shooting.
We're catching and resetting and getting out of this range for a minute or two.
My fight with Arrow, I came back to the corner. I had a look on my face, I guess. My dad said, "What's wrong?" I said, "Nothing." Like, classic Sean, nothing. He said, "Sean, tell me what's wrong." I said, my legs are kind of tight. He said, "Your legs kind of tight." He looked back, looked behind him. He would always do this and look back at the other corner. I don't know why. He looked back at them.
There's a habit problem.
He said, "All right, we're not gonna use our legs so much this round." And I was thinking to myself, like, I need these legs.
I'm not trying to wear these shots.
Yeah. So to your point, when there's a feeling,
when the nervous system goes out,
where does that adjustment take place? Do you trust the adjustment? Do you implement it? So that next round I did settle down a little more. I was
lost the round.
Whatever. Hello. I know around here. Chill out. Know around here. So we got some time until this fight. So we ain't gotta pour it all out at one time. We'll work our way up to this one.
Try to get on big guests to lead up to the fight.
Expect some more very, very big guests, and expect some very, very big things from the Puerto Rico podcast the week of Crawford versus Crawford versus Canelo versus Crawford takes place here. What is that? September 6th?
13th. I was just gonna say, I've been critical of the fight because I felt like it serves as a foreground to the Ali Act stuff. And
analysts, however, have been quick to underline concerns about Crawford's age and readiness for higher weight classes. By the time this fight potentially materializes, Crawford will be 38, a stage where natural decline becomes harder to ignore. Though he recently stepped up to 154 pounds to face Israel Madrimov, that lone bout hasn't convinced everyone he's ready to trade leather with a veteran like Canelo. In boxing, age isn't just a number. It affects reflexes, recovery, and endurance, all critical against an opponent as relentless as Alvarez. While Crawford's skills remain razor-sharp, some analysts wonder if his body will still respond with the same intensity.
Being successful, September 13th, Las Vegas, Nevada, Allegiant Stadium, when he takes on another first ballot Hall of Famer, 4-division world champion, 2-time undisputed world champion, and reigning undisputed super middleweight world champion, Mexican superstar boxer Saul Canelo Alvarez, who is 63 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 wins by way of knockout. Terence Crawford had one fight at 154. That was against Israel Madrimov, the WBA junior middleweight world champion, right? And since then, Terence Crawford has moved up now to 168 to challenge Canelo Alvarez, okay? And so prior to that, he spent 5 years at what? Welterweight. So the concern that people have for Terence Crawford, rightfully so, is that Terence Crawford will be 38 years of age 2 weeks after the fight. So he's 37, okay? Terence Crawford has one fight at 154. Prior to that, Terence Crawford has been competing, okay, since 2018 for the last 7 years at 147. Since June of 2018, he's been fighting at 147. His only fight outside of that division in the last 5 to 6 years was his fight against Israel Madrimov at 154, which he won, unanimous decision. I thought he handily won, but people thought that he struggled. Israel Madrimov is now 10 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw, 7 wins by way of knockout because he lost his last fight to Mexican superstar, WBC junior middleweight interim champion, Virgil Ortiz Jr.
Crawford and his team have made it clear they're learning from history, specifically Jermell Charlo's one-sided loss to Canelo. Crawford insists, "I'm not Charlo," pointing out that his style, discipline, and ring IQ are different. His camp is focused on movement, precision, and smart pacing rather than trying to match brute strength. The goal is to frustrate Canelo with defense, create openings with counters, and maintain control of the rhythm. Training has been grueling, with heavy conditioning and sparring designed to replicate Canelo's trademark power and pressure.
Team Crawford just revealed that they're currently working on making sure that the Omaha native doesn't end up like Jermell Charlo this coming September 13th when he faces Canelo Alvarez. Now this report comes from Boxing Scene, wherein it was just revealed by somebody from Crawford's camp that Terence Crawford is, quote, wary of repeating the mistake that former 154-pound champion Jermell Charlo made to a new weight limit without consideration of other factors. Boxing Scene further elaborated by saying that Crawford wants to retain his ability to fight with fluidity, maximizing the effectiveness of his power punches from both hands and ability to fight from a southpaw stance. With that said, Crawford's camp is now on full lockdown from the media or any sort of distraction up until fight week. Now, it's definitely worth considering that while it's technically...
Critics have raised another concern: the risks of weight gain. As boxers climb divisions, speed and agility are often sacrificed. Recent photos of Crawford looking noticeably bulkier have sparked debate online. While analysts caution that angles and lighting can exaggerate appearances, the underlying question remains: will adding muscle compromise the quickness that defines Crawford's style? More power is a benefit, but it can also drain endurance and reduce flexibility. Two qualities Crawford has relied on throughout his career.
Because the man is simply human. I mean, the more you age and the more weight you gain, of course you're going to be slower. Now, that doesn't mean that he won't be an elite fighter anymore. No, of course not. When you talk about special fighters like Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez, they can handle themselves against anyone on any given night in the worst circumstances possible. That is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. So let's get back into the discussion when it comes to Terence Crawford carrying the 168 division, when it comes to the 168 pound weight. So if you actually think about it, Terence Crawford, how is the man looking right now? I know, yes. I know that we have seen the new pictures of Bot Crawford with him looking absolutely massive, but I actually talked about this in one of my previous videos, ladies and gentlemen, which you can go back and check out. Terence Bot Crawford, don't let these pictures fool you, ladies and gentlemen. Don't let these pictures fool you. Yes, of course, Terence Bot Crawford gained weight, but the pictures make it seem like Terence Bot Crawford looks like a heavyweight. Let me tell you this, ladies and gentlemen, the lighting and the pump and the angle, everything plays a part in how you look in pictures. You know what I mean? Like, this is a fact, ladies and gentlemen. I can show you 2 pictures of me taken within 24 hours, and in one picture, my physique looks completely different than the other picture. One picture I can take after having a unbelievable workout, with a nice sweat on, with a nice pump, with some nice lighting, and a nice angle. I would look completely different than when I look right now, or getting out of bed, which I just did.
Respected trainer Abel Sanchez offered perhaps the bluntest assessment, dismissing Crawford's chances outright. Sanchez described the matchup as closer to a sparring session than a genuine contest, arguing that Crawford is simply too small to compete with Canelo. His comments echo a wider belief that Alvarez's natural size, strength, and experience at higher divisions give him a decisive edge. Sanchez conceded Crawford's greatness, but insisted that talent alone can't always defy boxing's physical realities.
Crawford, quote, "It will be a sparring session for Saul Canelo Alvarez." Coach Abel Sanchez dismissed Crawford's chance against Canelo, and it's really because of the weight gain. Renowned Mexican trainer Abel Sanchez has reignited the hype surrounding Canelo Crawford, scheduled September 13th, Las Vegas. Speaking to the ring, Gennady Golovkin trainer says, quote, "Crawford is a great fighter, but that's why weight divisions exist. Canelo has proven that when he moves up, he faces and beats the best in each category. Neither Bivol could hurt him, nor could my fighter in 2 fights." And he's talking about Golovkin. And even though Canelo and Golovkin fought 3 times, Abel did not train him for the 3rd fight. It was Jonathan Banks. So that's why he said in the 2 fights that he's familiar with, he's saying that Golovkin never really hurt Canelo. The weight jump, the big disadvantage. Crawford, undefeated record. He's 41-0, 31 knockouts. Agreed to move up to 168, blah, blah, blah. And he says, quote, "If Crawford had taken 3 or 4 years to gain strength and mass properly, he would have a better chance. But doing it in just over a year is too risky. He'll be slower and Canelo will dictate the pace." Now, this is a recent picture of Crawford, who definitely looks in shape. And, you know, that's what we come to expect from a guy like Crawford.
Chris Algieri, meanwhile, pushed back against the hype machine. While promoters and fans have branded this one of the biggest fights in history, Algieri disagrees. Yes, it's exciting, he admitted, but not the best ever. In his view, it doesn't compare to historical clashes where evenly matched fighters met in their primes. Algieri cautioned that the public may be overselling the drama, given Crawford is stepping into unfamiliar territory while Canelo is already a proven champion in higher divisions.
I love it because I have a lot of casuals who go to me and like, "Man, I can't wait for this fight. This is the best matchup that can be made." And I'm like, no, it's not. It's certainly not. Definitely not. Definitely not the best fight that can be made right now. I can think of a dozen fights that I would rather see. And a lot of them include Inoue against a bunch of different guys that I would rather see over this fight. But casual fans don't care that much about 122-pound guys who fight across the world in Japan. They care about big names and characters. But at the end of the day, when you look at this on paper, Crawford's 38, Canelo's 35. Neither looked very impressive in their last fight. They're still 3 weight classes apart. That has not changed, because, you know, and Crawford hasn't fought in a year plus. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of poo-pooing of this on paper. So I'm glad somebody says it. So thank you.
He didn't say his name. Yeah,
I like this guy. He came out there and just said his piece and left.
That's the type of guy that definitely calls in the WFAN here in New York. It's like, we need Boone fired. The Yankees suck. I don't look forward to anything. But,
What's up with that bullpen?
Yeah,
All right, I'm out of here.
exactly. I'm out. I'll hang up and listen. But yes, like you said, there are a bunch of fights you'd rather see. There are a bunch of fights I'd rather see both these guys in rather than the one we're getting. Like, I'd rather see.
That's a great way to put it too.
Yeah, Boots versus Crawford. I'd rather see Canelo versus Benavidez, Canelo versus Bivol, Canelo versus anyone at 168 of these top 5 there.
What about Virgil and Crawford? I like that fight. That got mentioned at one point.
Absolutely. I mean, but this is how boxing works. We'll all be excited on September 13th because it is a big event. We've talked about this numerous times on the show. We need big events, at least 1 or 2 of them a year to stay relevant as a sport. It's on Netflix. We're all going to be excited that week heading into it.
Maybe even that guy.
Hey, Dan and Chris. Love the show. This is Nero calling from Hollywood. I was wondering, with so many people taking Bud Crawford to win, I think at one point it felt like a hot take, and now it's becoming sort of a standard take. I hope this isn't too much of an abstract question, but can you think of another time where someone chose what seemed to be a hot take and then become the regular take? And what was the result of that fight? Personally, I think it's a bridge too far for Bud Crawford, and I think people are underestimating Canelo, but who knows?